Wait. Okay, this is me, and hence it shall be awkward. um so yeah, this is the first time I am doing a podcast on my own with no topic at all. I've also not done any with like topics, but just like sitting myself here. Um, Having known for a while that this is something that I might want to do, maybe that I need to do, but I feel, yeah, uncomfortable with for sure. Um, and every time I see friends and also people that I don't actually know doing this, I'm like, whoa, because it does take a lot of guts. Like I have friends that I like, they just share, openly with nothing to talk about. And yeah, whether or not I will put this somewhere, we will see. I don't know if there's gonna be, like, if this is gonna be a thing, or if this is just gonna be like a one time thing of breaking through some sort of fear of speaking and being seen. Um, which is weird because I don't have that so much in real life. I also don't really care what people think about me. Um, I think it's more of an ancestral as well as collective thing. And yeah, so here I am going through major life changes, as most of us are in our stories in different types of ways, but most of us are in this. We're all in this together, um, whether we see that or not. And for those who, for those that know me, like, you know that I love to dance, I love to move, especially when my kids are asleep. This is how I unwind, this is how I process, how I integrate, how I, yeah, work with it, work through it. Or sometimes I just play, which is my main work on earth. um, yeah, and I thought, since I mean, not just thought, like I knew like I had to do this for a while, but I was like, maybe this is the moment now, since I do not actually have much physical energy to be moving. And I was like, oh, I miss just like expressing, and like, I'm like, yeah, well, maybe it's time not to express from here. Yeah. And start expressing through here. Yeah, feels tender. Oh, you know how many times I've said like I would just really want someone to like just ask me questions, because whenever someone actually is in a mirror position with me and they do ask me something, it goes yeah, it's just like instant access to whatever needs to be said and heard. And when it's just myself, I'm um like maybe this is something that I'm going to learn through this, even though I have actually no expectations. I just know I have to do this, And then, um, yeah, maybe I'll learn how to access things, because sometimes it feels almost like I have this I have this massive like brain, and it feels like there's so much wisdom, there's so much knowledge, there's so much um, like so many tools, so many things that I've lived through, so many things that are worth and valuable to share. But I'm like, which one do I share? Like, what do people want to know? And like, sometimes it's like I've moved so, like, I also move so quickly through life that I'm like, this is like, you know, old story. And it's like, just like becomes part of me really quickly. So it's like, okay, so this is embodied and this feels like normal, right? So if people don't ask me, like, I'm like, I don't know what, like, for example, like writing Instagram posts and people are like sharing like tools. I'm like, which one? I'm like, this is like, is this a tool or is this just normal? And like, it's almost like mm, maybe because I'm not in touch with someone else, I don't exactly have a, I don't have much of a reference point. For anyone who's like into human design, my system is a mental projector 6-2, so I don't have like authority and blah 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 blah. Basically, similar to, uh, okay, not similar, but similarish to reflector. So I only have these, like I have two connections. The rest is like fully open. How? Which makes it really easy when I'm with people because I'm like, feel them, I'm in them. And this one's like constantly like analyzing, computing. Because compared to a reflector, like this one is not um, being influenced as much. So it's like I can read quickly and access and translate. And then when I'm just here, and then I'm like, now I'm saying it, I'm like, well, maybe once I've put something out, um, maybe then there will be a reference point because there is listeners. So like maybe if I just tune into the field that's listening or knowing that I am being witnessed right now, it's different than maybe alive. But let's see. I'm just like blah 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 blah. Um, Thinking, asking questions, not knowing the answer to any of these. Yeah, what was I getting at? And yeah, by the way, human design, love it. Use it as a tool. Keep yourself empowered and sovereign, because just as others, it's like any other permission slip, it's a tool. I don't like to limit myself onto any of those. And we're constantly changing, constantly evolving. Yes, we have a made up system and frequencies that we come here with and the blueprint, but that's also like, that's not all of you, okay? Because I hear like so many people in the spiritual sorry, I can't even do this anymore. Different story. um Spiritual community are like, yeah, I'm a projector, so I don't have energy. And they like become very passive. For example, I'm like, oh, I have to constantly wait for an invitation. Yeah, but you can also create an invitation. Um, but yeah, that's like a whole different topic on those things. Same with like, um, oops, astrology, which I also love. Having gone like deeper into it actually makes so much more sense. But then it's also like, okay, this is how I was born. This is how I'm like moving through life. I have had, and many of these lessons are actually also in your chart. I've moved through this, but it depends on like the level of awareness, the tools that you have, the people that you're surrounded with. Um, yeah. Ooh. So I asked one. Oh, I asked Instagram. I'm like, I was like, Okay, if I don't have anything to talk about, um, just want to have someone to ask me a question to bounce off of and see where that leads me. And just like trusting that the first person, like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like, I'm not gonna select answers of like, okay, this is, you know, a cool question, or like this is a person that I value or I find inspiring or any of that. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna take the first question. And the first question was shout out to Lisa, super fun. She was like, if you had to work a Matrix job for a day, which one would it be? And I just think that's such a funny question. And I'm also like, this is actually something I would have to think about because, like Matrixy type of jobs. And then the first one I thought of that was actually like Matrixy. Because, like, if I said like midwife, that's not so, Matrixy. And it's kind of like what I want to do, like, not medical midwife, but yeah. So, okay, take a second and just think about what it would be. Because it's something you wouldn't expect. I was like, okay, I actually would love to be on a construction site, like construction worker, and I want to drive actually two, but like, so bulldozer would be one, but the main one that I want to do, I don't even know the English name, is the flattener, let's call it, the one that has the big freaking weight and then you just like flatten the streets and everything. I don't know like why, but since I was like a little girl, I was like, I would love to do this. It seems so satisfying to just like smooth it all out. And then I was like, I would love to also just like crush things and like just to see like how they like look when I flatten them. So I'm like, okay, what does that even say? I'm like, okay, I do like to deconstruct things. So like the flattening of something and putting it into a different shape, okay. But apparently I also like to make things more smooth. I find that satisfying. And like, I'm not a person that like, I have very, very little Virgo qualities. So I'm not someone who enjoys cleaning or, putting things in order. I'm not messy. I do like it clean, but it's not something that like mm, really enjoy it, and they love having it all like in place and like a little bit OCD and aligned and stuff. And, like if you've been to my house, you know I'm very artistically chaotic. But I know, for example, like I know where all of my things are, even if you might not know. By the way, generally, like chaos most of the time actually has divine order. Yeah, so it's something that if you're like very micro, you don't see, but you actually take yourself out of it. Nothing is by chance. And yeah, so flattening things. Mm-hmm. Like as thought is maybe I wouldn't want to do it, but then I got my mind into it. I was actually about it. I'm like, I would really stink in a movie. Before they actually put the tear. Asphyte. What is it? The black stuff that makes the road. I would enjoy that part. Just like digging around, building something. Or yeah, I would also really like building a house. So like making some walls. Just anything with my hands. Basically. I would also love to make furniture. This is like a cute guy. To me, you're definitely work with your hands. I always wanted a husband who was able to make something with his hands, like actually create something outside of a laptop. And this was even before, like, laptops existed. Yes, I'm that old. Um, yeah, it's hot when people actually make things that matter. So, yeah. Being comfortable with the silence, the stillness, the pause in between. Enjoying the pause in between in my life. Most parts, some parts, extremely intense, extremely confronting. This is not the first time I've been moving through something like this, so but it is the first time that I'm moving through something like this while being a mother, which puts it in a different context for sure. Like the emotions that come up or the fear. Okay, let's talk about the fear. So I should have had some water. When something is happening to your body and you're not in control of it, neither do you know exactly what's happening, but it's actually very intense physically and very scary in that point. But then, because I have gone through something before, and that was like extreme, can share if you want in another story. And it was also for many years. I have looked death in the eyes many times, and also I don't believe in death. Like, I know we're all gonna have a end date of being in a body, right? But you're just transitioning. So, like, soul has and also they don't have to be recycled on Earth all the time. So yeah, it's a different type of fear of death when you're a mom, especially when you're a single mom of 2 little ones, and that is that hits different. It's different because it's yeah. On one side, I'm like, I trust, like, I trust divine, and I trust the plan. Yet, so like, if it was to happen, like, we would have all agreed on it, right? Like, including my children. But then, obviously, I'm a human. I'm an extremely devoted, loving mother, and I want to be there with them. I want to be there for them. So when things started happening, and like me being in emergency rooms, like the entire time, like while I wasn't even able to speak, all I was thinking about was like, I need to stay, I need to stay, I need to stay. Just because of my kids. I'm like, what about the kids? What about the kids? What about the kids? And just like sending love to the kids, sending them safety, like letting my energy go towards them as they are at home, um, just so they would, you know, um, on that level feel it. And that is intense. Like I think, yeah, only parents can know that feeling. It's very different to what I've experienced before. And yeah, for a few days, I'm someone like I go into stuff like in general, like in all of my life, like whatever I move through, I move quite quickly through different parts of life or identities which I don't really hold anymore. Um, but still, like, it's just natural that you always have an identity, right? Um, even if they're not as egoic, like, even if I say now, like, I don't hold on to them, I totally have, like, I totally have identities or things that I identify with that obviously I attach to. It's part of human nature. And it's also not a bad thing, but like to over identify, not gonna help you. At least not like with what I'm here for this lifetime. Um, so yeah, but then I also tend to go to the intensities of things. So I don't just get like, like a cough or something. Like I go like I'm always healthy, and then like like I'll just like stretch the experience because my soul wanted to feel and is able to also hold and move through intensities in a different dynamic where because I have a lot of light and I have a lot of lightness and I'm very connected to God and um, spirit, universe, whatever you want to call it. I don't call it universe anymore because actually creator, source created universe, and then there's multiverses. Like universe is not the highest thing, so you could be like existence. But yeah, this is something I dropped long ago, and I don't shy away anymore from the word God. But I know a lot of people have an emotional restrictive response when they hear the term God. Um, so yeah, whenever I say it, sometimes I say source, sometimes I say God, creator, the divine. Yeah. How? What was I saying? And yeah, so I do things in intense ways, or explore them, and also the variety of things that I've lived. Like, no way, I'm just like 33. That's insane. Yeah, going back. So the fear um, that was coming up for a few days, I was like, whoa. And I was like, I'm not going to bypass this. Like, I'm actually going to go into it because there is no way that you actually progress if you hide from the bear. And yeah, so I'm like feeling it, going into it, crying shitloads, being also being afraid because you can go into the fear and people might teach you this. I might too. You can go into the fear without actually being afraid. But I always, I also, I also went into the fear, and I was like, I am afraid. Like I am feeling fucking scared, and I allowed that. And then there is a difference to feeling it and being like consumed by a feeling. Um, it's definitely something to be aware of because there's like I totally do not believe in love and light. I'm only gonna be grateful and focus on positive, because that's like just gaslighting yourself. Guys, you gotta, like, if you actually are light, yeah, and you believe what you're saying, then there's no problem with actually going into the dark spots, into the fears, into the shadows, and all of the stuff that people would just kind of like, you know. I was there at some point in my life too, so I know. And I think it's also part of what we have to go through. And well, the candle I lit just went, the fire got really big. So beautiful. And she's like super straight. Now she became thinner and more intense in color. Yeah. So if I'll continue doing this, just get used to, like, my brain's not like so linear. I'm trying to speak as linear as possible, while also not like losing my authentic way of being and like communicating, because my mind's like layered in different places. Yeah, I go floop 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 floop. I know many of us can relate to this. Yeah, so I hit a point. I was like, okay, so here I am. I'm very scared. It's been a few days. Um, Let me go meet it more intimately. So I took some space. I asked my mom to. Um, did I ask her? She just did it, but she was looking after the kids, and her and my dad and the kids, they left the house, which, as a mom, you will know is a different energy. Um, like a different way that you can like drop into something, because you can actually switch off and switch on, because you know that you don't have to be available. So even because it's a difference, like if I am in a different room and they can like they still have access, or like maybe something happens and I'll go. Like there's always like something that's still like switched on. And so when it's just you in one space, and also even just as a normal person, just you in one physical space, is you can go deeper into something. So I put on some inner dance music. I wanted to start off with some stretching, some yoga, some asana, some movement, and I was like, nah, I gotta go write it. It's like, it's like, even though I do all of these things all the time, like I still have like the emotions and stuff. Like they might not be as strong as they were in the beginning. Like, for example, wanting to avoid something like this, or just being like, oh, you know, or like freeze response or something. But then it's easier to just like do the action. And then, yeah, I dropped, I surrendered, and went into my inner dance process, which, for those who don't know, because most people don't know yet, it's like, do you wanna even talk about it? Okay, because it's gonna go in a longer conversation. So, like, just imagine a type of sound healing that's very psychedelic and trippy, while being also extremely grounded. So, yeah, you're both like extremely tripped out, extremely grounded, and actually in your body. You go both ways. And then I'm like, okay, so going deeper into the fear, meeting the fear, I'm like, okay, what's behind? Like, so you go like, when you want to go deep into an emotion or a issue, problem, something you want to look at, how I do it is like, okay, so I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this here, and I'm feeling this in my body, and then I meet it. Sometimes I have conversations with it. I'm asking it, waiting for a response, because like your intuition will actually tell you a response. So even if you think you're making it up, you're actually like, because it is you, it doesn't even matter if you make it up, because your subconscious, which would be making it up, actually holds the information. So it would make up the first thing, but if you over mentalize it, might be your brain, like your not your brain, but your mind, yeah? Or belief systems, programs. So I go into it, and then I also go and ask why. So I always ask why, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm afraid da 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 because this, and then why, and then why, and then I go and I go and I go and I go and I go until I find the root emotion. And not surprisingly, most of these root emotions are not many. You usually end up at something that are just like core wounds, or like things from childhood. So things that you've been carrying a long time, and they hide between under many things, and they'll show their face with different masks. And yeah, and also the other way is what I also did was to go into the worst case scenario. So if you have a fear, and you're like, okay, so what's the worst thing that could happen? And then you go there, and you're like, oh, this is how I would feel, and why would I feel like this? And then you go further and further, and you actually look at that worst thing that could happen. Yeah, when you decharge it. So basically, while doing that, and you're going into this, um, you meet the fear of something that hasn't even happened yet. Yeah, and often that state of it not even having happened, but you're afraid of it might, is often way worse than when it actually does happen. And so you basically decharge the anxiety, right? And um, so I went into it, and I'm like, okay, so if I was actually to die, even though I was very sure that I had a lot of things to still do and share, and like I know I have at least one more mission, like that I really know that I gotta do, and then like, wasn't I supposed to be like with my children and blah 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 blah? Wasn't there another child for me? Um, and then I'm like, okay, so what if all of this was not my plan? And I'm like, what if I was only been given these visions or knowings or dreams, like so that I would be on a certain path that I am, like almost like a driving um, mechanism, right? I'm like, do I actually know like how long I'll stay? I'm like, no, nobody does. So some like rare creatures do. Most of us do not know, but like we have all set a time, and we never know what that's gonna look like. So I'm like, yeah. So even if I have like some sort of knowing, some sort of identity that attached itself to like, oh, okay, I still have this like life to do and blah 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 blah, and like I can't go because like that's not good enough. Like I've not been here enough with my children. I've not um, shared enough. I'm like, I just got started. Da, 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 da. I haven't even like put myself out there, you know. So I'm like meeting all of these things, and I'm like worst of all, obviously, like it's like so bad that I still don't want to like talk about it. Like I don't want to speak it, but I'm like, I am still supposed to be with my children. So I'm like, I go into it and I go into it, and then by going into the most scariest parts, looking at all of them, meeting them, feeling them, and being like, okay, could I? And this is the key. Could I accept this? And this, I'm telling you, this works every time. But you can't like make yourself, like you can't push yourself into acceptance, just as much as you can't like force yourself or actively make yourself letting go. Yeah, so, like you can't. Um, it's something that can only come from truth. Like it's not something that you can manipulate yourself into. If you do, like it's not gonna work. Um, so yeah, I'm like, can I accept this? And there wasn't like a right away yes. I'm just like there. Okay, can I accept this? Like, can I release more? Can I soften more? Can I let go of the fear that everything I have lived wasn't enough? Can I let go of the not enoughness story of having to do more? Living your last day as it was your last. It's like this thing that people say, but it's also like we all understand what it's supposed to mean, but many people also link it to something productive. Yeah, so if I live my life as it was my last day, I would do this, 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 and this. But what if it wasn't about anything that you had to do? What if it was just about how you were feeling of everything that you were already? What if it wasn't about becoming more, but just being there, present, more present, to receive more of what you already are, what you're already living, of what you're already vibrating on, what you're already giving by existing, what you're sharing each day by being here. And then I was like, well, can I actually accept that um, I'm enough? And see, like, this is something that I would have not thought was under that fear. It wasn't fear of dying, it was fear of not having done, not having given, not having shared, not being having been here long enough. Ta-da! And then I cried, and then I held it. And I held my little girl, and I held my woman, and I held my mother, all parts of me. And I'm like, wait, do I actually believe that? But I needed to see that there was something in there still vibrating that. And I'm like, actually, this is not true. This is not true anymore. I release you. And I release you with love. It's not like this shitty pattern of mine and how could I have like thought I'm not enough and da 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 da. It's like meet her with love and compassion. It's also something like even that feeling of not being enough is actually something that is wanting, even if it doesn't work. But what it is trying to do is make you safe. It was trying to protect you. It was trying to to get you love and be loving towards you. But it's just like this is like right. So like even saying this and like I don't know if you can understand this or not, but like it's same like with anger. Like there's like love. If you go under all of the emotions, you will always end up with love at the core because everything is made out of it. Everything is love. Yeah. And then by going And this is something also I have experienced. This is not something I've learned through any teachings or any gurus. Most of the things I do anyway are like ex- like experimental. Let's say I do a lot of like self experiments, and I'm like very aware and like reflective, um, constantly um, looking at things from different perspectives. Yeah, so but I'm not saying like this is my only truth. I'm sure there's people out there and like masters that are teaching this. I'm just sharing from my own experience in my life. It has always worked that when I go very deep into one thing, into one polarity, but I do it with like conscious awareness, yeah. I don't know actually if it works the other way. But if I do that, so by going talking about this um, this happening in with the fear by going all the way in into the highest intensity point, the furthest I can stretch the fear or the anxiety. I bloop out of it from the other side, and I ended up through that. Maybe acceptance is the door. I'll think about that. It just came, but like if I go to the end of it, then I pop out on the other side of the emotion. So if like it's like one coin. So I'm here in fear and anxiety. I go as far as I can, and then bloop, I plop out, and I felt the highest intensity of peace and calm I possibly could. First I cried, and then I became so calm, and I was just like, whoa, yes, I can accept this. Even this worst case scenario, I can accept it. Um, and it's like this thing where like it has always worked. Going into the farthest point you can stretch something, and you'll end up in the other um, end of the spectrum. So on the other side of the coin, it's like the duality goes and then whoop. Yeah, so maybe this is what I shared today. And that is funny because shout out to Ferdy. Ferdy, if you're listening, love you. Because he was like, just start talking, and something will come out, and you don't need to know where it's gonna go. And this is what I meant. Like, I know these people doing this, and it takes a lot of trust and guts and flow, to just be like, ooh. Yeah. So thank you for listening to this very first video of mine. Let's see if this was a one-time thing or not. I hope there was something that you could take from it, and if not, so it's also good. Take it or leave it. I feel very grateful to myself to having done this, and I will feel somewhat proud of myself when I actually have uploaded it somewhere, because that's a whole nother thing of like you produce footage and then keep it on my drive. Yeah, much love.